Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you on this September 12th, 2025. I have all your stories for your rush hour ride to work. An incredibly exhausting week it was. Stories we've, of course, reported on that I wish we never would have to. Precedents have been set, violence. But what we've also seen is people come together, grace, compassion, and love. If you guys will stick around, I'm going to try to continue in an attempt to lead with grace, compassion, and love when it would be so easy to continue to be a part of the problem. So on behalf of all of my audience here at the Rush Hour, I want to thank you guys for the majority of you having my back this week, understanding there is more good than evil, there is more love than hate. And I think if we come together and digest a lot of that love, we'll reflect that in others, and we'll continue to put one foot forward after the other and make the world a better place. I know it sounds cheesy to start off this episode by saying that, but I believe in my core in love, empathy, and grace, humor, things that bind us, and I think we're going to get there. I know. I won't be toxically optimistic. It's tough out there. It's a fight out there. And it's easy with social media dividing us. And we're going to talk in this episode about those divisions. I'm also going to share pop culture. As you guys probably know already, I've got it in the title, breaking news. Taylor Swift is set to be deposed in the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni trial. We're going to get into that in a minute. But we've got some other wild topics. Mars has potentially discovered alien life. Mars Rover. What? Okay, you got my attention. We'll lead with that. Second half of the episode, we'll talk Charlie Kirk. We'll talk those on the right that are actually trying to unite us in a way after there's been a lot of very easy low-hanging fruit, which would be the political division, the if it bleeds, it leads, the conversations about who done it, who's wrong. There is a shooter at large as far as when I'm recording this. And the FBI has received more tips since the Boston bombers. So there's a lot of people out there trying to catch this man, find justice, find motive, and all of that. We'll get into that the second half of the episode. But let's jump into some other out of this world stories. I wanted to cover this yesterday. We've just had too much going on. NASA's Perseverance rover discovered a unique leopard-spotted rock on Mars in 2024, and they're just now telling us about it?
This very well could be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
So last July, NASA's Perseverance rover found a leopard-spotted rock at Mars. And scientists immediately knew. It was interesting, we hadn't seen anything like that before.
What we saw in this rock were these layers of very fine-grained, rusty red mudstone that had in them these incredible features, these things that we took to calling poppy seeds, which are the sort of dark black spots in the rock, and leopard spots, which are these kind of ring-shaped features.
What does it mean?
That have dark rims around them.
They've done the analysis on these leopard spots, and we think they are potentially made by some sort of ancient life. This finding by our incredible Perseverance rover is the closest we've actually come to discovering ancient life on Mars.
Well, there it is. They found some rocks. Okay, well, it could mean, and again, maybe, but what ancient life is it ancient microscopic life? Where are the red Martians? That's what we want to know. All right, well, there's your update there. I wanted to share this very interesting reel by Don Lemon. He left CNN. I think he was supposed to work at Twitter, immediately got fired by Elon Musk, or he reneged on the deal. And now Don Lemon is actually talking about how YouTube is paying him more money. Now, why is this interesting? Well, we're only a few months from 2026, and New Year's resolution, people start, rethinking how they can live their dreams. And I'm telling you right now, 5 years into having my YouTube channel and podcast and having what I believe to be is a very, lucrative sort of business here that I've been able to put together as a one-man shop, I have to tell you, I love the idea of people taking that leap. When you do something you love and put it online and meet people in that community, it can be life-changing, not just monetarily. It can be life-changing for plenty of passionate reasons, moving away from having a boss and being able to control your own hours. And do I work now more than ever? Absolutely. I work when I go on vacation. I work different times. I tone it down a little bit. But the point being is that, yours is the world and everything that is in it. And you, with the tools that exist in your hand, your phone, your computer, with these tools, you can create that destiny on social media. And I'm saying that because I am helping my YouTube private members do that. We just had our second live stream yesterday. Take it from them. We got about 40 members right now. I'm auditing their YouTube channels and giving them kind of tangible things they can do to make their channels improve and be better. And I have to tell you, I'm having a blast doing it. If you have any interest at all, I think it's $5 a month. You can join for a month, watch the videos and quit. But I think there's a lot of people out there that want to tell their story, and it's cool to see them get the chance to do it unfettered online. Have a listen to Don Lemon.
If it continues on the current trajectory that I'm on now, I will eventually, I'm not saying it's going to happen this year or next year, but I will make more money than I made at CNN. Obviously, I think I'll make more money because now the salaries are decreasing, right? In traditional media. But there are so many different ways to do it. When I was at CNN, I could only do universities with endowments or that kind of thing. I could not do corporate speaking engagements at all.
So either way, talking about the doors opening up, good example that, find something you're passionate about, love talking about, and find a way to talk about it online. I think I probably make more than 80% of the hosts at CNN. And, I might not get the respect because I put a hat on backwards and don't wear a suit. But hey, I love my audience, and that's why I want to bring you guys the news. I think that's important. And speaking of which, I am remiss. I should say this. I wanted to cover this yesterday, but there were so many other stories. I wanted to give it the time to cover. And yesterday, of course, was September 11th. It was, how long? Do the math. Has it been 24 years? What the hell? Time is flying by, a quarter century almost. And every year, firefighters get together in solidarity, and they do this thing where they climb the amount of flights that would have existed in the World Trade Center, where the firefighters, many of whom lost their lives bravely rescuing innocent folks who were there at their jobs, and they climb, whether it be on treadmill or stadiums, they'll get together and march up and down the stadiums, climbing the steps, and it's something we need to remember that unifies us. This idea that firemen, an apolitical job. It's a social program that we all pay for with our tax dollars, and they're there to protect us. They're there to help, not just with fires, but so many other issues. They are there, and they exist in the community, and it's a cherished tradition what they're doing. Have a watch.
How long are you going to be there for?
Till we get 110 flights.
Never forgotten, forever honored. 110 flights, and there they are, different photos of them, of course, in their gear, carrying an American flag. It could easily make someone emotional thinking about how much solidarity there is, not just amongst the firefighters here in the United States climbing those steps. It's a chance, hours to remember not just the lives lost, but how short life is. Here is the French firefighting department climbing the steps at Sacré-Cœur, which, is several hundred steps as opposed to 110 flights. Not nearly as high, but it just shows that we're not alone out there, that, so many people came together after that tragedy. And we have to remember, in the world we live in now, not to let tragic events get the best of us. Obviously, you take the time to mourn, regardless of what you think and how you process that. But just remember that everyone's doing their best with the information they have. And we have a better world when we can come together for the goodness of the people. I know it's cheesy to say. It's stuff I believe in. And when it comes to giving grace to others, when it comes to having compassion and empathy, you don't give it to people on a contingency basis, whether they give it to you. This is a reminder for interacting with your family or folks that you think have different political ideology than you do. The true way to happiness is to have that exist and ignited within you, and that can spread to others. No contingency with grace, empathy. It is tough and it is challenging during times like this. All right, I'm going to set the deck. We're going to reset right now, go to a commercial break. When we come back, I've got the Blake Lively Taylor Swift news. It's going to blow your socks off. It's a real interesting update to the trial. Taylor Swift set to be deposed. All that information coming after a quick word from our sponsors. Excited to tell you about today's sponsor of the Rush Hour podcast. We're here in my car at the gas station, sponsored by Upside. It's a free app that gets you cashback rewards at gas stations, restaurants, not just gas, but sometimes the food that you're going to get in the gas station. Great for road trips. They give up to $1 million a week back in rewards to its users, $1 billion in total. This is how it works. You just type in your zip code and it'll show you all the different gas stations. I'm at an Exxon. 45 cents per gallon will come back to you as a reward. Not points or some loyalty program, cold hard cash back to you. It's a no-brainer. You're driving to work, commuting, rush hour, Timmy's going to football, Jill's going to dance. You're already spending the money on either gas or purchases in the gas station. Again, it all comes right back to you. And with my code RUSHHOUR, you're going to get 25 cents off per gallon on your first tank fill up that you do when you sign up for this app. Again, 25 cents off per gallon with my code RUSHHOUR. Let's get back to the show. Well, this breaking Taylor Swift news, this came out of nowhere. I did not think Taylor Swift was going to be deposed. I didn't know why. I thought, there was some deal worked out where they were going to get information from her, but not do it through the deposition. Because as you guys know, Brian Friedman, attorney for Justin Baldoni, submitted a subpoena to Taylor Swift to depose her. And then they withdrew that subpoena, so there was no further movement. Well, now, as we're finding late last night, this letter to the judge. Dear Judge, as counsel for Wayfair Studios, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, and everybody else, motion to modify the court's case management plan and scheduling orders. So they say we write in opposition to Blake Lively's motion to modify the court's case management plan and scheduling orders. Ms. Lively has not shown good cause for her proposed modification. First, Ms. Lively has known about the recently produced and forthcoming documents for a month long before she agreed to take defendant's deposition beginning on September 15th. On August 4th, Ms. Lively moved to compel a further document production from the Wayfair parties and sought several months' worth of additional communications. On August 11th, the Wayfair parties opposed Lively's motion to compel, but indicated they would produce numerous additional documents. Following the briefing, the parties agreed to September 15th for Steve Sarowitz's deposition, typo, September 18th and 19th for Jamie Heath's deposition, and September 21st and 22nd for Justin Baldoni's deposition. In other words, at the time the parties agreed on deposition dates, Ms. Lively knew that additional documents would be forthcoming prior to the depositions. Second, Ms. Lively will have Mr. Sarowitz's responsive, non-privileged signal messages by September 12th. Ms. Lively incorrectly claims the Wayfair parties insisted they would not produce signal communication prior to the date of Mr. Sarowitz's deposition on September 15th. The Wayfair parties specifically told Ms. Lively that Mr. Sarowitz's and Melissa Nathan's responsive, non-privileged signal messages would be produced by September 12th. Finally, and this is where it gets interesting, Ms. Lively misleadingly implies the Wayfair parties seek a blanket 30-day extension of the discovery cutoff date. Discovery has to cut off at some point. At some point, the judge has to say, all right, all the information's done coming in. Now we swap it, we share it, and then we prepare for trial, right? I'm making it way simplified here. In fact, the Wayfair parties requested an agreement solely to take the deposition of Miss Taylor Swift during the week of October 20th to the 25th, due to Ms. Swift's pre-existing professional obligations. Whether the court agrees to the broader modification sought by plaintiff, the Wayfair parties respectfully request that the court modify the scheduling order for the sole purpose of accommodating third-party witness TSwifty, Taylor Swift, who has agreed to appear for deposition but is unable to do so before October 20th, 2025. I don't believe they're going to depose her for 5 days. That's extensive. But I feel like they are giving a window, and she's the biggest pop star in the world. And she's got other things going on. Now, can the judge possibly deny this? That would be insane, right? That would be absolutely insane if the judge denies this very long, because they're seeking an extension. They go, look, we're not trying to do anything else. We're not trying to seek an extension so we can delay this, or we just need to do it for this one deposition. I can't imagine a world where the judge won't approve this. What the hell do I know? So this information just came out. This is shocking. This is a huge blow to Blake Lively. And why is that? Well, because the accusation that Blake Lively was trying to extort Taylor Swift is an accusation that's been on the table for a long time. Now, there hasn't been much movement on this because nothing has come of it, and the case has kept on moving on. And everyone said, "Well, what about that extortion attempt?" And the idea being, Blake Lively, the rumor, Blake Lively tried to extort Taylor Swift to support her, saying, you need to support me publicly or else I'll send messages. I'll leak messages. I'll share messages. I don't know the verbiage that was used, messages that would be unbecoming of Taylor Swift. And the best thing you can do in this situation, if you're Taylor Swift, I believe, is get that story out. And that's exactly what happened. Taylor Swift's father leaked that, was the source of this story from, all sources. And then nothing happened. So this idea, like Blake Lively can't, throw Taylor Swift under the bus now, right? I mean, that would look horrible for Blake Lively. Taylor Swift has a much bigger audience. I mean, that's seemingly career suicide here, right? So Blake Lively, no longer friends with Taylor Swift. Blake Lively didn't wish Taylor Swift a congratulations on her wedding. And I got to tell you, I've had friends on the fritz in the past where like friendships were going away. And when my son was born, they didn't congratulate us. Like, hey, congrats on the healthy baby boy. First of all, I mean, you're not a friend of mine if you're not welcoming in, my beloved firstborn son. What are you talking about? So I understand that it is very deafening when something like that happens where in a big milestone moment for Taylor Swift, Blake Lively doesn't say anything. Obviously, it's because the relationship is donezo. So I don't see Taylor Swift publicly doing a full turn I don't think publicly Taylor Swift will do a full turn and twist of the knife on Blake Lively. I don't see that happening. She's not that on the nose, right? She'll just write a couple song lyrics or something like that. But what I do see Taylor Swift doing is, truthfully answering their questions at the deposition. I see that happening, and, she can, and I don't even want to say hide behind the deposition legally, but she can say, look, I don't want to have to say this stuff publicly, but if you ask me, I have to answer according to the law. I've sworn an oath here, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. We look forward to hearing that. Is it vague what Blake Lively was threatening Taylor Swift with? Is it obvious? We'll know soon. This is a massive, massive big deal. I'd love to know all of your thoughts on this. This afternoon, because we just don't have time to cover it, this afternoon we're going to cover the story right here of Blake Lively following Kim Kardashian's career path and might want to become a lawyer. Wild times to be alive. All right, up next, we're going to go right into it. We're going to talk about Charlie Kirk, the terrible events that happened this week, the violent rhetoric that's out there, those that want to be radicalized into a war, not just a culture war, but a violent war. I'm completely against that. I believe in the First Amendment right. We should all be able to talk about our differences, and we should all be able to come together and know that we have more in common than we do apart. Sadly, Jesse Waters last night stoked that violence. So did the President of the United States, which we will share. Stoked that violence, immediately blaming the radical left when we don't even know who the shooter is right now. We don't even know. Today's episode of the Rush Hour Podcast is sponsored by Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one of my favorites. Ooh, are they delicious. Start your day with a protein-packed breakfast from Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Oh, you thought they only had delicious smoothie options? You're mistaken. Pair that smoothie with a toasted breakfast wrap, order ahead online, and earn rewards with the Tropical Smoothie Cafe app. Like to customize things? Add more good vibes to your smoothie. Fresh add-ins like almonds, spinach and kale, chia seeds, or supplement supplements like protein and Energizer. My favorite smoothie is the Peanut Paradise, chock full of 22 grams of protein. My wife loves the mixed berry Greek yogurt bowl topped with fresh strawberries and blueberries, which comes with a whopping 26 grams of protein. Make every day a getaway with our bold flavors and better for you pairings only at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Tropical Smoothie Cafe, you're on Tropic Time now. Now back to the show. Here's Patrick Bet-David, conservative commentator, speculating that if someone from the other side is also targeted, it could be an outside plot to spark civil war. Now, this sounds crazy, but as we're going to discuss now, we already know that other countries have tried to sow disinformation, have bot farms. This is absolutely true. Russia has bot farms. The debatable question is whether or not they care about one side versus the other. The thought is they want to rip apart our democracy. I don't know if that's what happened here, but the result is the same. Here's Patrick Bet-David trying to cool down the violent rhetoric on Jesse Waters' program. Have a listen.
Charlie Kirk dying, it looks like everybody stopped. It's one of those moments I will remember for the rest of my life. But I want to say a couple things about this. I was watching a clip that was shown on TMZ where the host is talking and then they realize Charlie Kirk is dead. The announcement is made and there's celebration in the back and you go through Twitter.
And by the way, that's been debunked. They were celebrating a car chase. It wasn't, whatever. We already covered that.
And you look at some of the people, the comments that are making it, they're happy, they're this, they're that. Here's what I've learned. That's not most of America, Jesse. That's 10% of America. 80, 90% of America is not happy this event took place. Correct. We're more unified on issues that we have than we're against each other.
And this is one of the issues with how loud the internet is that the right thinks the left is all about cancel culture. The left thinks the right's all about cancel culture, when in fact there's a small minority on both sides that will do anything they can to get the other side canceled. Most people believe in the First Amendment right, that discourse is the right way moving forward and you should be able to share your thoughts and debate them and have most people believe that. And I'm still having people in the comment section say, yeah, but on my timeline, I'm seeing X, Y, and Z. That's my point. The megaphone is turned on and it's dialed up so that the worst, most divisive takes are the ones getting to the top. The only solution, or one of the only solutions here, is to stop interacting with strangers online. I mean this. Catch yourself, stop it. Just donezo. It's not productive.
This is one of those very weird moments where it makes me sit there and think about what happened. Was it just the guy that was upset because of what happened the last 48 hours? The whole Van Jones, the Irina, Ukrainian girl that got murdered. Is that the reason why somebody went and took him out? Was it controlled? If it is controlled, who is it? Is it opposition? Is it funded by a few names that we know, you and I know about? If an event like this happens to somebody on the opposing side the next 48 hours, the next week, think about the equivalent of Charlie Kirk on the other side. If an event like this happens on the opposing side, you have to know a country on the outside wants to see a civil war in America. That concerns me a lot.
And he's not wrong that they would like to see that happen. The wars that are going on internationally, they're not the way wars used to be fought. There's sowing of disinformation. There's wrecking of democracy. We're a quarter century past 9/11. The terrorists wanted us to fight with each other. They wanted us to hate them. They wanted to mess shit up. And in a lot of ways, they succeeded. Now, whenever there's some national emergency or disaster like this, people are going to get things wrong. With the Boston bombers on the loose, they got it wrong. They were tracking the wrong guys with backpacks, doxing them. CBC News says there's this conservative, after the conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was shot, an American social media account falsely, began circulating an image of a Toronto man as the subject. Here's what he had to say.
We received a phone call from my youngest daughter, Zandra, and she was telling me in a bit of a panicked way that I had to delete all my social media accounts because my name and image was out there associated with a shooting that had happened in the US. I hadn't heard of the shooting, and I've never heard of Charlie Kirk, so this was just shock and horror that, first of all, there'd been a shooting, and second of all, that I was in any way named or implicated in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild out there. It's the Wild West, social media. So much misinformation gets shared, and, you got to parse through it. It's got to be incredibly difficult for them to know what's a real tip and what's not. Utah's Governor Spencer Cox warned yesterday that, as he spoke to reporters, not to be fooled by the tremendous amounts of disinformation as unfounded theories about the identity of the killer run rampant on social media.
For those people who are spending so much time on social media, I think Charlie said it best, that when things get bad, we should put our phones down and spend a little time with our families. There is a tremendous amount of disinformation. We are tracking our team, the state team, and I'm sure the federal team as well. What we're seeing is our adversaries want violence. China, we have bots from Russia, China, all over the world that are trying to instill disinformation and encourage violence.
This exists in our life, and we need to be educated on these threats. The greatest threat that we have, for the most part, is the phone we keep in our pocket. And that sowing of disinformation, that sowing of hate, it exists. And the idea of touching grass, the idea of going for a walk and calling people and getting the hell offline. I mean, my wife and I, we bought this cell phone box. We put our cell phones in when we're not working so we can be separate from that Pavlovian reflex to constantly check all of the different alerts that go on. The phone is a tool, but it is entirely too addicting. And we are realizing in the infancy of social media, as social media takes off, how easy it is and toxic it is to manipulate people, divide people, and foreign bot farms, hundreds, if not thousands of accounts, can comment and troll people and get them fighting. And I'm telling you right now, folks, there's a lot that needs to be done. Number one, and it's like what they said when you grew up, don't talk to strangers. Number one, don't talk or communicate or get trapped into a fight with strangers online. I'm telling you right now, I lose respect for my friends when I hear that they're just fighting with somebody online. I'll snap back once in a while on my own channel. You know what I mean? I'll snap back once in a while, or I'll use it for content. But I'm letting you know it's a time suck. Use that energy to call your mom and talk about something you guys love. More love. Love, needs to be the center that radiates outward. And sadly, on our phones, it's this ball of energy and anger, and we want to take it out on some random stranger. Whose side's at fault? We go online, he must have been on the left, the radical lunatics. We can't fall victim to this division. Absolutely not. Let's skip. So we're learning a lot about, the gun that was used and, how easy it was to take it apart and conceal identity. They've got video of the gunman escaping. But again, other than the video we shared last episode, not much else we can share. James Tallarico, running for senator in Texas. Here's what he has to say about not hiding behind prayer when it comes to the senseless gun violence.
There is something profoundly cynical about asking God to solve a problem that we're not willing to solve ourselves.
The response from many Republican leaders was to call for thoughts and prayers. Of course, we all respect the value of prayer. I know you certainly do. And then attack anyone who said that is not enough, that thoughts and prayers are not enough. You're a deeply faithful person, as your announcement shows. What is your message to people out there who think prayer absolves them of the responsibility to take tangible action?
I believe in the power of prayer. I think prayer can change hearts and therefore change the world. But there is something profoundly cynical about asking God to solve a problem that we're not willing to solve ourselves. We know how to prevent mass shootings in this country. We know what policies work to keep people safe and honor the rights of gun owners. This is not that hard, but big money like the NRA is what's preventing us from making progress on this issue.
It's true. Anytime there's a mass shooting, gun sales go up the next day because they threaten you and say, oh, they're going to round up your guns and take them away. You better buy more bullets. They do this. They're powerful. They donate to nearly every politician. And I don't know of one politician that's in office right now that's talking about banning guns. They're talking about having the types of registrations and background checks, and maybe every year or two, like a DMV, you go in and you get checked to make sure things are okay, you're doing all right, you're not on the fritz, because maybe you shouldn't have a weapon if you're not right. Just like there's other restrictions you shouldn't have if you're, I don't know, dealing with depression or things like that. You know, this idea that you're just allowed unfettered access to weapons that can wipe people out from 200 yards away, I don't think too many people think, you know, and for the folks that say, well, you know, I'm a good gun owner. Good. Well, then be that good gun owner with a nice registration that's like a universal program that we can all agree upon and have that conversation. So as far as updates go, I don't have much to share. It's a manhunt. He's on the loose. I've seen some crazy information that a plane took off only 10 minutes after the shooting from a private airport and it's gone dark. I have no idea what's true. There's been claims that Trump's response video was AI generated also, which has been debunked. It was probably edited and spliced together, but not AI generated. And here we have the response by Governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. He, of course, was almost a victim of senseless political violence as his home was burnt and he narrowly escaped just several months ago.
Universal in condemning all political violence. The president missed the mark last night in his Oval Office address. He should be condemning all political violence.
So very simply, you know, this idea that political violence is absolutely bad. Every political pundit I've seen agrees on this. But when Donald Trump gave his speech, he immediately blamed the radical left. He's also called his political adversaries the radical left. So by claiming that whoever this was, a terrorist event, an assassination of a political commentator, Charlie Kirk, whoever this was that did it, by labeling them as radical left and labeling all of your adversaries, everyone who's to the left of you, as radical left, that's wildly, wildly dangerous. So you can say whatever you want about Biden, but I truly believe he tried to work across the aisle. Vote In or Out says, here's a quick side-by-side of how one president responds to a national crisis versus how another does.
Americans. To my great fellow Americans. A former president was shot, an American citizen killed, while simply exercising his freedom to support the candidate of his choosing. I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. While we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors. We're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals.
And by the way, you'll hear people defending Trump by saying, yeah, but he just spoke the truth. Isn't that part of the problem? That you can easily label people as such radicals? You're the president of the fucking United States of America. One of your main jobs, symbolically, is to bring us all together during tough times. You know, after 9/11, hearing a speech from the commander-in-chief, one that, you know, calms us down. It's a moment where you have to meet that mark. In my opinion, Donald Trump didn't do that. And I had folks saying, we need to unfollow Dave for having this opinion. It's like, isn't that the cancel culture you hate? Unfollowing me for this opinion that Donald Trump didn't meet the mark and wanting to stoke the violence? It can get bad out there, folks. We are on the precipice of a dangerous cultural civil war.
This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today. Violence has never been the answer, whether it's with members of Congress of both parties being targeted and shot, or a violent mob attacking the Capitol on January 6th, or a brutal attack on the spouse of former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, or information and intimidation on election officials, or the kidnapping plot against the sitting governor, or an attempted assassination on Donald Trump. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others. There's no place in America for this kind of violence, for any violence ever. Period. No exception. Radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many many lives.
We can't allow this violence to be normalized. You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down. We all have a responsibility to do that.
My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it.
God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
So what I find interesting here, if you're really going to honestly break it down, is you can't cherry pick which side's been the bad side. It's not a side. It's crazy people. And this idea that words, rhetoric, leads to someone to pull the trigger, you got to be careful there too. Because crazy people, violent, insurrectionists, anti-fascist, crazy people on the edges of society, they're the ones that pull the trigger, not the people that have opinions. So I'm worried that by labeling anyone with an opinion that might be different than the one you support as radical terrorist, you're giving the government permission to take away someone's First Amendment rights. Someone who has an opinion is not a radical terrorist. A radical terrorist is a radical terrorist. I hope people can start to see what's happening and understand, like I've said time and time again, that the way we unify is to remember we have so much in common as humans, as Americans, separate from whatever color skin we have, gender, and even ideologies. I saw a post today that I thought was amazing. It was a post that said, hey, conservative friends, leave a compliment about things you like about liberal friends. And they did it vice versa. And you actually had a lot of people in the comment section saying, well, I'm a Republican, but I love that my liberal friends or my Democrat friends care about the environment because I also, it's like, figure that part out, because there's some very wealthy people that benefit from us just fighting. There's other countries that benefit from us just fighting. Don't prove me wrong in the comment section by bringing a fight here. Whether it's my channel or others that are like-minded, prove me right that we have more in common, that we have love, and quit arguing with strangers online. It's not going to get us anywhere. I'll be back this afternoon. We got more to get to then. We'll see you later. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.